547.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday morning real estate marketing show with Ruthie Rocks, Ruth Allbrand, and I am Marketing Max. Ruth, give me the show number again.
This is 547.
This is show number 547.
Wow.
All right. And today we have, again, one of the most entertaining guests that we'll ever have on the show, Mr. Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy here in Las Vegas. And he's going to talk about this booming market that we're experiencing here in Las Vegas. And he has his own take on it, surprisingly enough. But before we get to Aaron and his take on what's happening in Las Vegas, Ruth, what is happening in the real estate market?
Aaron, I'm going to put you down in the lobby for a minute.
Throw me in the lobby. That's
in
right.
The lobby. You're in the lobby, man. Okay. So the market is hotter than ever. We've listed 184 homes yesterday, which I put my smiley face there because that's what we need to do. We need to list more homes than we sell or than we put under contract. And we put 107 under contract yesterday, but we listed 184, which
Nice.
Gives us almost 19 days of inventory. We were down at 15 at one time. So,
Right.
So this is good. The sellers are coming out because why? They have equity. The prices have gone up. Even if you bought your home at median price last year, you still can sell your home and put a few $1,000s in your pocket after expenses and move to a different neighborhood, downsize, upsize, retire, whatever you're going to do. So there's plenty, like you talk about, the liquidity in the market is incredible. And I don't think we've ever seen this. Max, you were talking about $3 trillion out there in the past of liquidity, and now this country has $5 trillion.
$5 trillion.
People have money.
Yes.
And so that's why we have the supply and demand issue with housing. People are buying houses. People are coming here from California, and we're selling 130 houses a day. It's not going to let up. And the thing that people don't realize is the turnover. Sellers, there's 2,280 single family homes on the market today. So that means that, this week we've listed about 600 homes. So of that 2,200, 600 have not been on the market before. So this isn't we don't have stale inventory.
Inventory.
So that's part of what's driving the engine. And the builders, they're putting people on wait lists too, just so you know. So anyway, I don't want to take any more time today from our famous guest.
Yeah.
And I'm going
from the real estate guy.
The real estate guy, right. Because I know he has a lot to say. Hey, Aaron.
I always have a lot to say.
Yeah, Aaron. So, just in case no one knows you or watching the show for the very first time, Aaron, why don't you give just a kind of like a 30-second intro on who the real estate guy is?
Sure. Yeah. So, been living in Las Vegas for about 35 years, licensed agent, investor since the mid 90s. Have a great brand in the state of Nevada, the real estate guy, Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy. Did very well with the brand. I think it's a pretty popular brand out there. Mm-hmm. And I have 5 kids, 8 grandkids, very involved in the community, with the homeless shelters, with the police officers, with animal shelters. Just love helping the community. And then everything about us that we do in our business, our culture, with my team and everybody that's worked for me is all about helping the client in a lot of different ways. Some systems that we put in place. Some of the systems we put in place is we give cash advances to sellers when they sell their house. We realized that a lot of people, like yesterday, I listed a house. The lady's in her upper 70s. She's moving to New Mexico, Albuquerque, to be with her family. She has about 120,000 equity. However, when she buys a house in New Mexico, she needs earnest deposit. She needs to pay a mover. She needs some money, and she just doesn't have much savings. So we're going to give her a cash advance of $10,000 to help her get settled over there, to start moving. Because more than likely, usually when people sell their house, they got to be out the next day, right? Or even if they get a lease back, they still don't have much time. So we give money to that. We don't charge any interest, nothing like that. We also do repairs for people on their house to get them the higher price. So we'll go in there, paint, carpet, change appliances, granite, whatever we got to do. So we have some great systems and procedures in place, all surrounded by getting the seller the most money. And in some cases, it's, hey, don't sell your house. It's not the right time. You know, we ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm. No, it sounds great. And all that effort's turned into what, 289 transactions plus here over the last 12 months. And I heard from Ruth that you're on pace to do over $100 million in volume this year.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I really owe that all to everybody that works for me. You know, like all the girls that work for me, they all been with me 10 years or longer, with Ginger being with me 18 years.
Wow.
And they're all smarter than me. I mean, they're all good at their job. They really are. I've been very grateful, lucky, fortunate, whatever you want to call it. They're all great at what they do. They know their job very well. They understand the culture of the real estate guy. I don't have like a transaction coordinator, a closer. We're all part of the team, and we do anything to make it work. So we're all interchangeable, which is really good. I really believe with real estate agents, you know, when you're getting to go to the next level, don't hire a transaction coordinator. You need a personal assistant, somebody that can help you with your life, somebody that can get coffee for you, fill your car up with gas before you take a listing, put it in your navigation system, prepare the packet, help you with your social media, talk to the client, clean your house, whatever it takes. They're there in your life to help you be more successful. But you got to remember something. As you become more successful, you got to take them with you and pay them more. Because if you keep paying people the same, then they're not going to exceed your expectations. So I know Ruth mentioned it once to me too. I almost positive that my girls are the top pay in the industry for sure.
They are.
Yeah,
well, that's good.
Making over 100,000. So
yeah.
But Aaron, I see them every day working and with their nose down on the desk or making phone calls, doing everything it takes. And I don't see that you're missing a beat on anything. So you've created such a team, and you have a system which saves you sanity, time, energy, and money. That's the acronym for systems, and you've got it down. And I talk about you every class I give. I talk about you several times during the week because you're the model realtor. You really are.
Right.
Well, I appreciate that. They all know that we put their families and kids first. Everybody that's part of the team. We let everybody off Friday at noon because we want them to have time with their families to get that jump start for the weekend. If they do anything with their kids and family, they don't even ask. They just schedule it and go. They don't even have to ask me because they know that that's important to me. So, and we're all based on the volume and the business that we do. That's how we're paid. Right. So everybody knows the goal. Everybody knows where we want to be. So I don't micromanage at all anymore. I just don't. No. Ruth knows that. I don't at all. I can leave for a month and we won't miss a beat.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got it down, Aaron. You've got it down. And I know it wasn't easy. I know in 2008, you couldn't even buy JT a baseball uniform. And
no, yeah.
And I tell the story like you started with one house, and then you had a housewarming party, and then you walked the neighborhood, and now look where you are today. I mean, it is a true testament to just working, and doing the right things at the right time with the right people.
Well, thank you. And at this point in my life now, because of what we've accomplished as a unit, the real estate guy, it's like I'm changing to, okay, how can I help real estate agents get to where they need to be? How can I show them the systems that we did or when I first started to get where I am today? And I really enjoy watching like Sam Coleman and Kevin and Kathy Jarmello and George O'Brien and see these guys, Natasha, and see them take some of the systems and procedures that I did that I've learned by mistakes, right? Because let's face it, we're only as successful by all the failures that we've had. And believe me, we've had 99% failures. You only need one that works. So we've made a lot of mistakes and a lot of failures, but you just get smarter from it. You get more wisdom from it. And then I think as you get older too, is like for myself, it's just all about what we can do to help the client. How can I help the agents? How can I, and then asking questions like what's really important to you. And I do that every month to my staff. I sit down with them and say, okay, where are you at? Where's your head at? What's important to you? Where do you want to go? Talk to me.
Yeah.
And some of them, it's like, boss, I want to make a little more money. Okay, well then let's do this, this, and this. Some are, my goal is I want to work at home 3 days a week instead of 1 day a week. Okay, well, let's figure out how you can do that. So I believe that if you have a good culture surrounded by positive attitude, thoughts become things, helping other people, and you can go anywhere. You really can. And I wish I would have got this at 30, not 50 something, right?
And having clear goals. That's what I like about what you've done is like everybody's rowing in the same direction. Everybody knows where you're trying to take the real estate guy, and you've just hired the right people now that understand it, then pay them well, right? And they have a vested interest in doing and helping your company do better because they know that they're going to do better. So, that's fantastic. But let's get to.
Go ahead, Ruth.
No. Show us that, and then I want to get to the main topic.
All right, I want to show you something because this, I have 5 kids, and my youngest son, JT, he's 23. He graduates from college this year. He's such a great kid,
He is.
He is just a doll. He has the culture down already because I've embedded it in him since he was a little guy. So he's going to take the real estate guy to a whole new level. I already know he is. Everybody can see it.
Yep.
So we're starting to put him in all the commercials and everything, but just kind of.
Aaron Taylor here, your real estate guy. Jacob Taylor here, your real estate kid. The highest price for your house from the #1 real estate brand in Nevada. We will give you $10,000 cash advance or more within 48 hours for vacation, repairs, for bills, whatever you want. We put our money where our mouth is. So call the real estate guy today. Over 25 years of experience and over 6,000 homes sold. Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy.
Isn't he a great kid? I love him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All right, enough about that
stuff. Yeah, so let's get to the topic of the day here. I'm curious. You're obviously out in the field. You're doing transactions, so you kind of know the pulse of the market and what's happening here, Aaron. Tell us what's going on in Las Vegas and your take on this boom that we're having, across the valley here.
Well, first of all, I want to tell Ruth, you do a fantastic job in giving spot on information. Like you see me listen to your show every Saturday, right? Guys, I do a radio show every Saturday called Real Estate Live with Dustin DeHart. Well, I listen to Ruth's show before I go on my show, so it's in my head because she is great with stats. So if you're a realtor, a lender, tune in to Ruth every morning at 9:00 because you really will get some good information about what's going on. So what Ruth talks about with low inventory and high sales and low interest rates and everything that's going on, I really don't see any indication of this market slowing down at all this year or next year. I see it continually going up. I see rents going up like crazy. I think 11 or 12% over the last year, rents by itself, which was already at a high.
Right.
And I see this going on and there's no indication of it changing. However, like what we talked about off the air, I have a different way of looking at things. I'm very optimistic. I'm not negative at all. Don't think that. But when you feel pain, it's like, falling in love, right? You fall in love and then that girl steps on your heart and crushes you. Well, the next time you're in a relationship, you're a little more guarded, right? You're like, wait a minute, I'm not going to let that happen again. Well, I felt that pain in 2008 and 9, like no other, lost everything. So I'm a little more guarded. Not that I'm negative, I'm just guarded. There's a big difference, right?
Sure.
So,
you're on high alert.
Oh yeah, when it's this good, I'm on high alert. It's almost like when me and my wife are getting along so well and everything is great, that's the time to sit down with her one-on-one and go, okay, where are we at right now? Let's talk about our relationship, because that's the time to really do your checks and balances, is when you're making a ton of money, when you're very happy, then you won't get caught with your pants down. Most people wait till they feel the pain and they're on their way down and they start checking things. Well, it's too late. Don't do it. So I believe something's going to happen that we don't expect. Like I really talk about an alien invasion. People laugh at me about this, but I believe in my heart. And, now everybody can click, go ahead and get rid of us, get off.
Right.
Don't listen no more. But in my heart, I feel that there are people on our earth that aren't from here, and they're here now. And we see signs of it all over. Even our government is recognizing it as we speak. Well, they're here. And at some point, they're going to make themselves known. And they're going to be like, look, guys, you humans, you're really screwing up this freaking planet. And we're tired of watching what you're doing. And we're going to step in. They're going to be smarter, stronger. I'm not going to say that they're going to be violent, but there's going to be some changes going on. And I've always said that. So even when I buy stocks in the stock market, I'm always looking at things that correlate with that because I just have that feeling. So I know that's way off the subject.
This is way out there, Aaron.
Way out there.
But here, so I'm going to challenge you on this very scenario because I like to logically think, right? So we can't plan for things like that, right? It's just say, for instance, your scenario plays out and they make themselves known, and for whatever reason, the real estate or in the stock market all crashed. Though, at what point, how do you protect yourself from that? I mean, do you go into cash? Do you go into Bitcoin? Do you go into gold? What do you start buying or holding?
There's some things that you can do to protect yourself, no matter what. Even if our dollar goes to zero, if the stock market crashes, I think the first thing is you have to be free of any debt, completely, 100%. Meaning,
for sure.
I think when I hear people say, "Oh, don't pay your house off because it's your only write-off," well, hell with you, whatever, pal. Let me tell you, when your house is paid off, you sleep well at night. No one can kick me out of my damn house. So I would tell young people or people that are maybe getting retirement, pay your home off. So, and then don't have a car payment and don't use your credit cards and don't do this. Have no debt so you can live on little to next to nothing and survive. So I think that should be really one of the ways that you should protect yourself. Now, I don't know about having a bunch of cash in the safe because who knows what it's going to be worth, right?
Correct.
I don't know about having gold bunions or whatever you call them, bars in your safe. I don't know if that's going to be the key either. But I do know that if everything fails and you have no debt and a place to live, your shelter's taken care of. Okay, what's after shelter?
Food.
Water and food.
Right.
Okay, how can we protect water and food? Well, if you're out in the boondocks and you got a well, you're covered there. Food, raise some chickens, goats, and pigs, I guess. I don't know. But for being in the city or these metropolitan areas, don't have any debt. And when I listen to talk radio and experts talk about, most of them will say, get out of debt. The ones that say keep a house payment, I totally disagree.
So I come from the financial world, Aaron, and I agree with you. There's intrinsic value, meaning not real financial value. If from a mathematical standpoint, with interest rates as low as they are right now, unless you don't have any savings and you're piled up with debt in other places, now's the probably time to use a little bit of leverage to continue to grow wealth, right? Accelerate wealth during a low interest rate environment. Because if you put money, here's the argument on the mathematical side is, if my mortgage rate's 2.5%, 2.75, which is the average right now.
You're making a good point.
Right? At 2.75, and I'm putting money into my house, that money I'm saving 2.7. So if I put, like, say, for instance, $10,000 into my house, right? I'm saving 2.75% on that $10,000 on an annual basis. But if I put it into, like, say, for instance, the stock market right now, or look to buy a house, a rental of some sort, I mean, my internal rate of return on most rentals, if you put 20% down right now, is anywhere internal rate of return, which is, the principal pay down and, maybe any extra cash flow rents, is probably anywhere between 10, 12, 13, 15% in this environment that we're in right now. So over time, yes, I understand the intrinsic value of that. So,
but eliminate that part. Forget about that. Let's say you have a 1% interest on your house.
Okay.
Let's say it's 1% and your payment's $2,000 a month. Well, I don't care if your interest rate's 8% or 1%, you're still flipping paying $2,000 a month. You're paying $2,000 a month. When something happens and you lose your job, or there's a meltdown somewhere, you're still paying $2,000 a month.
Yes.
And if you don't pay it, they're taking your house. Well, throw the scenario out. I pay $0 a month. There's something that happens. Can you kick me out of my house? Nope. I pay $0 a month. So the point is, I think, especially these millennials, I see my son's college fraternity brothers. They're smart. Man, these kids are smart these days. I mean, they are sharp kids, and they are very frugal, and they don't want to have house payments. They want to pay cash. You know, there's some of them buying houses, of course. Some of them use the interest rates, but they know in the back of their mind, they want to own a house. They want to pay cash. They don't want to have any payments. So back to what I said, okay, yeah, it's great. They're giving money away cheap. That's awesome. But at some point, you got to get to that point. I think if we instill that in our youth, there's going to be a lot more successful people out there, and they'll be protected as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, having very little debt burden, especially early in life, is a big advantage, right? Because you don't spend the first 10 years of your life paying off debt. And that's why this whole college, tuition thing is a big problem now in our country. So, okay. So outside of aliens here, Aaron.
Yes.
So, I mean, what else is your take? Here's my take. And I shared this on the show last week is I think the market's probably going to continue to do well across the board, economy wise, stock market, real estate market, probably for another 2 years until the Federal Reserve tightens the money supply, which they're just giving away money freely right now. They're still buying $180 billion a month in U.S. Treasuries here, right? Keeping interest rates low. And according to the U.S. money market report, the months of March and April, actually savings ticked up in money markets from 4.6 million to 5 trillion. I mean, 4.6 trillion to 5 trillion now. And the 10-year average has been about 3 trillion. And corporations are buying back like almost $280 billion back of their own stock in the first part of the year here, the first quarter of the year. So companies are flush with cash, investment companies, hedge funds, private equity firms, right? The reason why we're seeing probably the real estate boom too is partly because obviously first-time home buyers and buyers are migrating, but also investors are from an institutional level, not the mom and pop, not the mom and pop flippers. I'm talking about, hedge funds who have, $2-3 billion that they need to do something with, and they're coming in now. And that's why we're seeing probably in some markets like ours, where affordability is still there, rise. So, I mean, that's kind of my take. We'd like to hear what you're seeing out there and among the real estate community.
Well, I would agree with you on all levels. Again, I mean, you could see the market is on fire. These big hedge funders and companies like Zillow are trying to buy every house they possibly can. And they're not buying to flip. They're buying to hold right now. There's more people that are buying to hold. However, there's still probably Wedgwood, Blackstone. Some of them are still trying to find houses to flip, but it's very hard. I don't anticipate the market changing this year or next either. And so it's time to work hard, stockpile your money, and just plan for the future and be aware of changes in the market. The one thing that I love about Ruth is she gives you stats every single week, every day. Yeah, so we're going to be the first ones. We're in the trenches. We're going to be the first ones to know. Yeah. And for me, my barometer, right, is I watch inventory, and I watch it, and I know this morning we have 2,207 single family homes on the market, and that's 10% higher than we had last week.
Right.
Well, is that a pattern? No, but I watch it. And if I see this over the course of 4, 6, 7, 8 weeks, then I feel that something's coming on the horizon. So I think it's very important to listen to Ruth stats every single week, watch the inventory, especially if you're an investor or if you're in real estate, know the market, but enjoy right now. Enjoy it because it is fantastic, right? It's great. We're all making money. I mean, hell. It's a great time, man. I'm so grateful. It's awesome.
So can I just interject something here?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm a numbers person, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if you purchased your home in 2011, the median price was $120,000. And if you didn't take any money out, you've got $260,000 gain. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the show. And if you look at this chart, these sellers have equity. And my prayer is, Aaron, that you keep advertising to get sellers, because, you know, this to me is the biggest push for them to sell and give us more inventory, and then they're going to buy, right?
Yep.
And they're probably going to put more down, you know, than the average person, because they've got so much equity. And to your point, you know, 30% of the homeowners in Las Vegas own their homes free and clear. That's a wonderful thing. And what, you know, just like you're saying, Zillow's buying homes and they're probably paying cash, and the hedge funds are paying cash. So I think that I don't even want to talk. There is no bubble. You know, there may be a change or a shift in the market, but there is no bubble, because we're filled with equity. If you bought a home last year at the average price of 345, which was at the end of the year, by the way, you know, and you want to sell it this year with the median price of 380, the normal percentage of cost to sell a home, 7%. So that would be $26,000. You're still going to have $8,000 or $9,000 left. I mean, so there's.
I can tell you right now, if you have a house that's trying to sell for 365, you're probably going to get like 425, 450 right now, because you cannot find a house for 365 here in Las Vegas that lasts more than one day.
But this is, I just think that it's continuing to be a perfect storm. And we're going to have inflation someday. Somebody said, it's called a little inflation. But owning a home is the best hedge against inflation.
Yes,
because appreciation even gets greater when we have inflation. So I just wanted to throw that in to the conversation, and I'll put that graph down now.
And the last place you want to be if you don't have short-term needs is cash right now during an inflationary period. I mean, real inflation, the publicized, what they call the consumer price index inflation that's published by the federal government's running at 4.16 right now. But
say that again.
4.16 is the CPI core inflation number right now, published by the federal government, right? So last year in April, your dollar is now worth 96 cents, basically 95 and some change.
Oh, is that what that means? That 4
yes.
point something is like?
It means that last April, a dollar bought it. Now compared to today, you can only buy 95, 96 cents.
Is it going up or down?
It's going up. Inflation is going up. But real inflation, right, that affects you and I, consumers, at a day-to-day level, because the CPI does not include food costs or energy prices, right, like gas costs. But we've seen gas go up almost 30%. I mean, we went from almost under $3 a gallon to, if you do premium like I do, at $4 a gallon right now, right? And then food costs are going up 10, 20%. So really, your dollar last year only buys 90 to 80 cents worth of day-to-day goods. And so the last place you want to sit around too much right now, and this is the reason why we're going to have a boom in about a year or two, both in the market. That's why institutions are rushing to get out of cash right now, because money markets, CDs, fixed income only pay anywhere between 0.1%, 0.4%. The 10-year treasury is yielding 1.67% right now. No one's selling real estate to lock up money for 10 years, only get sub 2% rates for a 10-year period. So what's going to happen is this is why there's going to be a mad rush. We're going to have a blowout top here because of this. Inflation, low interest rates, low inventory. It's going to be a party, like Aaron says. Enjoy it for the next 2 years. Save, right, or put money aside for short-term needs that can last you a year or two, because eventually this party is going to end, right? And you're either going to be really happy and go home, thinking about all the great memories, or really hung over and regretting what just happened last night. So,
well, be well balanced for sure.
Yes. Have a combination of both.
Very wealthy once told me years ago, Aaron, you're too heavy in real estate. So I started working on being well balanced and having money and investments in different places. And I'm not the expert at it by no means, but it made sense to me. So if you come down here, you're up over here, and at least you're well balanced, and you're always going to probably get hurt a little bit somewhere, but you're always going to succeed in other areas too. So, have the stock market and the mutual funds and the money in the bank and the real estate and the business, and just try, be well balanced. if you can. But yeah, enjoy it, guys. I'm going to go to a radio show that I have at 10 o'clock on 8:40 a.m. News Talk Radio.
All right,
I'm
Aaron.
so happy that you guys had me today. I really enjoyed talking to both of you. Ruth, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're giving great information, both of you guys. I really enjoy both of you. So have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, Aaron.
Bye.
So yeah, I saw a comment on the sidelines from one of the watchers says it's called inflation, and it's absolutely right, right? And inflation is going to drive people out of cash, and especially big institutions, especially smart money, because they understand you cannot sit in cash for too long before, I mean, so I'll give you an example just to do the math, because I'm a math person, right, Ruth?
Yes.
Right. So last year, if you had $1 and you just kept it in cash, it's now worth 90 cents. But last year, if you had $1 invested in real estate or invested in the stock market, it'd be now worth $1.20. So you're not losing 10 cents. The opportunity cost is now 30 cents. But what's 30 cents of $1? That's 30% difference.
Yeah.
Right. You compound that over 4 or 5 years, and your single decision to stay in cash, right? Now the caveat is you need to have cash for emergencies, to make sure you run your businesses and your life, so that if tomorrow the world ends or the halts again, like we did, that you have enough reserves for 6 to 12 to whatever, 24 months, depending on your business here, to survive. But any more than that right now, you need to deploy it, right? Because you're going to lose out big time. Guaranteed loss. And actually Warren Buffett says that's the one risk that investors and people just don't pay attention to, is inflation risk. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, the math works out. I mean, that's $1. Imagine if you had 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, and you're talking institutions who have $1 trillion right now, right? So you're saying 900 billion versus 1.3 trillion. I mean, that's a big number.
Yeah.
So 900
trillion. Where did that come from?
So say for instance, you're a hedge fund or a big private equity firm, right? You have $1 trillion under management that you need to deploy. You don't want to sit on that money. I mean, because right now, the money market rate funds right now, money sitting in money market is about 5 trillion, right? So that 5 trillion, last year was 5 trillion. This year is 10%, 450 trillion.
Right. That's a big difference.
4.5 trillion.
Yeah.
Right. Versus where it could have been, which was almost 6 trillion.
Right.
That's a big number. When you start talking about, large numbers, I mean, that makes a huge difference. So,
we talk about how quickly things can change. People that invested in Bitcoin took a real dive because the IRS said this isn't currency, it's property, which means now they can tax it.
Of course.
I mean,
we all saw that coming.
But I don't think a lot of people realize the impact of that. I talked about this in some of my classes this week, and I had a lot of, blank stares at me like, well, what does that mean? That means that you're going to get taxed on that.
Mm-hmm. As you should. I mean, especially if you're selling out and making
it a property. They're not making it currency. And I know that you can still, you can use anything to buy anything. If I say, here, I'm going to give you my phone, you give me your earphones, we just exchanged. Yeah. It can be money, it can be Bitcoin, it can be anything. Right. But the fact that can be taxed, I think is going to, I don't know. What do you're more in that financial arena than I am. What do you think? What do you think the impact future is going to be on Bitcoin?
It's hard to tell, right? Because the frenzy is so big right now, but it's definitely, in our opinion here, not a good storage of wealth or productivity, because until big institutions and the governments accept it as a form of, like a viable exchange. And how are you going to do exactly right? How are you going to do the tax implications of that, right? Especially if they move it to property, if they can tax it. So if I buy $1, Bitcoin's like, just for, easy math here, $1 today, and then it grows to $10 and I buy a product or service with it, how do they calculate that? How does the government try to, reach, the government's trying to reach in and grab tax money, right? I mean, that's what they're trying to do right now. So, I mean, that creates so many problems right now. I'm sure they can get figured out, right? Eventually, at some point or another, these cryptocurrencies and digital currencies are going to have their day in the sun, and it's going to be like the .com bubble. We have I don't know, thousands of digital cryptocurrencies now, and like 4 or 5 of them are going to come out and be a part of the fabric of society in some form or fashion, right? The technology behind it, maybe, an exchange of value, or maybe a government system takes over and decides to buy out, one of these currencies and makes it and uses their network and the technology behind it to utilize for exchange. That could happen. But for now, everything happening right now is all speculation. That means people are just banking on just like if they're buying a piece of land right now.
Yeah.
Right. Except land has eventually a use, right? Right now, cryptocurrencies, I mean, you're betting that someone else is going to accept this currency, right, to exchange goods and services right now. And so, I mean, we're seeing a crash because of a couple of things. Elon Musk sent out that tweet, said that he's not, accepting Bitcoin. I didn't realize this, but I read an article. It takes 45 minutes for, the reason why he's didn't want to do it, because the every time you do a transaction and exchange and give it to another person, it's not instant. It's not like, at the bank where you
wire it,
it's there. It's 45 minutes, because what's happening around the world is all the servers are, calculating the transaction and recording it across the network, and they all need to verify with each other until whatever green light it gives. But that's for every single Bitcoin. And so if you need to exchange 2, 3, 4, 5 Bitcoins for whatever product service, it takes a long time. That's his biggest complaint. And all that energy that's being used to verify those transactions and to mine is what he's saying is a environmental nightmare, because I think the number was 1 Bitcoin transaction is the equivalent of 3,000 or 4,000 credit card swipes.
Oh my!
Right?
Yeah,
so
that takes time.
Takes some time, and it takes a lot of energy. So
yeah, and the other thing is with China not recognizing, the Bitcoin, and there was speculation that the United States might go there too.
Right. That was the one big risk that, I was always concerned about, is a sovereign nation going against it, because I mean, it is a complete direct threat. You don't think the government, if they can suppress free speech, you don't think they're going to suppress a currency that could technically make governments irrelevant?
Well, taxing it that was huge, and I don't think. I mean, people. There's many implications to that. Mm-hmm. Making it a property, not a currency, has put the Bitcoin to me in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm. So,
just saying.
Yeah. So we'll see where this all goes, but the technology behind it is fantastic. They just need to get it more efficient. It's in the early stages, much like all these .com. The whole digital cryptocurrency and the transactional blockchain technology is really, the game changer. And that's what the internet was, right? I mean, the internet was super slow in the beginning. We didn't have infrastructure behind it. We didn't have the technology to support it. People didn't accept it and trust it quite yet. We're getting the same attitude, right? That's why I'm kind of I'm leaning into the crypto world a little bit more. I feel like this is the way people reacted to, the internet, right? I'm not going to put my credit card online. Now we're our whole life is online. So
interesting.
So, we'll see.
I have a question for you. If you buy an NFT, a non-fungible token, do you have to use Bitcoin to do it?
I don't think so. I mean, NFTs actually are more widely, I think, being distributed by the Ethereum network, which is, so you have to buy an Ethereum token. Yeah. But you can exchange Bitcoin for Ethereum, and it's interchangeable that way. Especially in some of the apps like Coinbase, or actually but one of the big things right now is Binance, right? Which was a huge with Coinbase, one of the bigger kind of apps that third-party exchange system where you could buy, Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies. They, I think the U.S. government did something to it, but basically you could not transact, and you had to. Everything was like overseas in an account, and then now you have to like exchange it over, and it was it's a process.
Yeah.
And so it kind of slowed down things things a little bit, and that's what I'm saying. Legislation is very important. We got to pay attention to this. I mean, we were talking about currencies.
Just a bit of trivia. Did you see where Charlie Bit Me, the YouTube video that got 800 million views, is now an NFT as of tomorrow. So Monday you can buy a piece of Charlie Bit Me, because they're taking it down from YouTube and they're making it a
digital,
a non-fungible token. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to watch, because I think it's something people can relate to. Because
I think it's what the digital currency and this NFT stuff is doing is it's distributing the intellectual property to a much wider audience.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. And I saw this coming a few years ago. I forgot what the site was called, but you actually could go onto this website and buy basically the licensing rights to artists' work, like musicians' work. Right. And obviously you're not buying Michael Jackson's work or, or Mariah Carey or anything like that. But like, we're talking about, probably the lower tier, maybe the one hit wonders. And then they're like sub songs, right? That never hit. But I thought that was interesting, because now I'm like, oh, crazy. What if, maybe the song was good, but it wasn't widely distributed, or it didn't have its time yet. And you can buy these, and eventually, you can license it to movies and commercials and just get royalties from it. I thought that was a great idea. And that's what's happening with this NFT. That's where the value is that you're buying intellectual property here that eventually, the value is the eventual use of it,
Exactly.
I'm looking at Gary Vee right now, and he's brilliant. He's doing all these NFT stuff like that. But like, I'm like, he's taking advantage. He's a marker to the T, and he's taking advantage of the time. I mean, will some of his little doodlings, eventually be valuable? Maybe. I don't know. When he buys the New York Jets, and he, knock on wood, he doesn't do this, but happens to tragically crash in a plane crash or something like that. And now Gary Vee is like an enshrinement in the U.S. and world history, maybe, but
Well, it's an interesting world we live in, that's for sure. And we just continue to learn and earn and train people how to be better. We're having a class on. Let's see if I can get it up here. Come on. I don't know.
While you're doing that, the NFT stuff and the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, this is the byproduct of all the liquidities that's out there, right? There's excess money just looking to be spent. And that's why until that liquidity starts drying up, times are going to probably be good. But like I said, be prepared for it. Enjoy this time, but definitely be prepared.
Yeah. So my ad won't come up for some reason, and that's technology for you. But we're having a contracts class on Monday from 2 to 5 here at 8400 West Sahara. Jimmy Dague and I will be teaching advanced strategies in this type of market. You really need to know how to make that RPA, that purchase agreement, stick and get your buyer that home. And so come to the class 2 to 5. Go to bee.vegas to sign up. And it's not too late. You can sign up as late as 10 o'clock on Monday. So, because the class doesn't start till 2, you'll get your link if you're Zooming. You'll get a place in the classroom if you're going to join us. And we're going to have appetizers and refreshments for the people who come to the class.
All right. Fantastic. Yes. Get educated, stay prepared.
The more you learn, the more you earn.
Yeah. All right. So tune in on Monday at 9 a.m. with Ruth.
Thank you so much. See you next
Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth.
You're a wealth of knowledge.
Every week.
Thank you.